Hello, dear audience. Let me show you the first introductory lecture of the minor, Profession-Specific Intercultural Communication, Economics. The topic of the lecture is Content Specifics of Economic Profile as Educational Component of School Professional Training. The aim of the lecture is to introduce economic profile school education in the framework of foreign language education paradigm. Today, we are going to discuss three main topics. The first is profile training as a structural element of school education. The next, general features of profile education training. And finally, specifics of profile education program. So let's start. World experience shows that economic education of school children is a prerequisite for the successful work of graduates in all fields of sectors of the economy, an integral part of the cultural image of a modern person. The study of the economy is aimed at revealing the content of the state economic policy, the development of students' economic thinking and economic culture, the formation of general economic skills. To make decisions in life situations and fulfill the typical roles in the society, all citizens need economic knowledge and skills in the field of ownership and management of property, choosing a method of saving, as well as in other areas of economic relations, ability to analyze and evaluate economic behavior from economic, spiritual, and moral positions, taking into account the economic convictions and ethical standards of economic activity both in the world and in Kazakhstan, formed as a result of training. Thus, socioeconomic direction is included in school training of the senior stage of secondary school as a profile component. Following the requirements for modern education, pre-professional training is supposed to develop not only general and professionally significant competences, but the intercultural communicative competence within the field of profile as well. That is why it's rather important to maintain foreign language training by economic profile in the senior stage of secondary school. So, the main goals of the introduction of specialized training in school are the following. To acquire a proper level of general education training of graduates, to get prepared for continuing education in the chosen profile and successful employment, providing students with equal opportunities to study general education subjects at advanced level, to create conditions for professional training and obtaining the appropriate qualification, to ensure the continuity in the content, methods, and forms of training in the institutions of general, secondary, vocational, and higher education, to develop the intercultural communicative competence in the profile sphere as the basis for education, continuity, and future employment. The content of specialized training is allocated between three groups of subjects. The first, mandatory general education subjects, studied at the basic level. The next, mandatory specialized academic subjects, studied at a higher and advanced level. And finally, elective courses. The most important issue of the organization of specialized training is to define the structure and directions of the profile as well as the model organizations of specialized training. In this case, it should be taken into account, on the one hand, to consider individual interests as much as possible, abilities, aptitudes of high school students, and this leads to the creation of a number of different profiles. On the other hand, a number of factors that constrain the process of educational differentiation. They are the introduction of the state examination, approval of the general education standard, the need to stabilize the list of textbooks, ensuring specialized training by appropriate teaching staff, and etc. Any form of training leads to the reduction of invariant components. In contrast to the traditional models of schools, the study of individual subjects when one or two subjects are studied by in-depth programs and the rest at the basic level, Implementation of profile training is possible only if we relatively reduce the educational material of non-core subjects studied for the purpose of completion of basic general education training of students, and design the content through interdisciplinary approach regarding modern requirements to the curriculum. In the conditions of the Kazakhstani school, it is planned to introduce specialized objects within the invariant component. Model of a general education organization with specialized training at the level of general secondary education provides the opportunity to various combinations of academic subjects, which will provide flexible system of specialized training. This system should include the following types of academic subjects. They are basic general education, profile or specialized, and elective courses. Basic general education subjects are mandatory for all students in all training profiles. The following set is offered as the compulsory general education subjects. They are mathematics, history, Russian and foreign languages, physical education, as well as integrated courses of social science for sciences, humanities, and other possible profiles, natural science for humanities, socioeconomic, and other possible profiles. Specialized general education subjects, that is, subjects of higher education levels that determine the direction of each specific profile trainings. For example, physics, chemistry, biology, specialized subjects in natural science profile, literature and languages in the humanities profile, history, law, economics in the socioeconomic profile. Core academic subjects are mandatory for students who selected this training profile. The content of these two types of academic subjects is approved by the central executive body in the field of education. Achieving the level of state requirements proposed in educational standards for basic general education and specialized subjects are determined by the results of the unified national testing and independent national testing. Elective courses are implemented at the expense of the school curriculum and perform two functions. Some of them can support the study of the main profile subjects at a certain standard level. For example, the elective course, Mathematical Statistics, supports the study of a specialized subject of economics. Other elective courses are used for intra-specialty training and for building individual educational trajectories. For example, courses Information Business, Fundamentals of Management, etc. in the social and humanitarian profile, courses Chemical Technologies, Ecology, etc. in natural science profile. At elective rates, the national testing is not conducted. At the same time, the approximate ratio of the volumes of basic general education, specialized general education subjects, and elective courses is 50% to 30% to 20%. The proposed system does not restrict general education organizations selecting a particular training profile or multiple profiles at the same time, and the student in choosing different sets of basic general education, specialized subject and elective courses, so as to make up own educational trajectory. In many cases, this will require the implementation of non-traditional forms of education, creating new models of general education, analysis of pedagogical works on generalization of the organization's experience. Specialized education is that it's possible to construct the educational process in the way when a combination of general education and specialized subjects give a variety of forms of profiling for general education institutions, for individual classes, and for groups of students. It is possible to organize the educational process by various levels that implement more than just the content of the selected profile, but it also gives students an opportunity to learn the content from other specialized subjects, which are interesting and important things for each of them. Thus, this possibility can be realized in various ways. The organization of educational process, courses, elective courses, external studies, as well as through cooperation, combining educational resources, various educational organizations, general education organizations, organizations of additional primary and secondary professional education. This will allow the high school student to use educational services to other general education organizations, primary and secondary vocational education, providing the most complete realization of their interests and educational needs. Options for organizing specialized training in general education institutions can be different. This is due to both established traditions and experience of organization of differentiated training of students in educational organizations in rural and urban areas and opportunities of educational organizations and regional educational systems. In general education organizations, classes can be created for different profiles. The learning process in each profile class is built according to the curriculum corresponding to this profile. Specialized training can be carried out not only on the basis of one educational institution, but also with the involvement of educational resources of other educational institutions if the institution does not have opportunities to fully implement the teaching of specialized subjects and elective courses. These functions can be performed by other educational institutions. Thus, the organization of profile training in secondary school relies on the following concepts. Competence-based approach, as it strives to develop professionally significant competencies as the result of learning. Differentiated and student-centered learning, as it satisfies students' educational needs and abilities. Interdisciplinary learning, as it requires the reduction of educational load and educational support for other subjects. Cooperative learning, as it ensures the opportunity to study within different educational institutions and use various educational resources and technologies. Well done. Now, let's discuss the next question. As it was mentioned before, the specialized training is distributed between basic, profile, or specialized and elective courses. The basic subjects are the same in all directions. Profile subjects are differentiated depending on the areas of study. Their programs and teaching materials are included in the invariant component. They are developed at the state level. They acquire innovative and practice-oriented content. They are implemented through multilingual education in the 12th grade. They have continuity with the undergraduate program. The training organization uses credit and dual training system. Socio-economic profile is compiled by the following subjects: terminology by profile in a foreign language, Kazakh language, socio-economical geography, Kazakhstan in the modern world, fundamentals of economics and management, sociology, fundamentals of entrepreneurship. The program on economics provides the formation of general educational skills, universal methods of activity, and key competencies in this direction. The priorities for the subject economics at the stage of secondary general education are the following: explanation of the studied provisions on the proposed specific examples, solving cognitive and practical tasks that reflect typical economic situations, application of mathematical knowledge in the economic field, application of the acquired knowledge to determine the economically rational behavior and order of actions in specific situations, the ability to substantiate judgments, give definitions, provide evidence, searching for the necessary information on a given topic in various types of sources and extracting the necessary information from the sources created in various science systems, that is text, table, graph, chart, audiovisual series, and etc. Separation of the main information from the secondary, critical assessment of the reliability of the information received, the transfer of the content of the information to the appropriate goal. Then, the choice of the type of reading in accordance with the goal. Also, work with texts of various styles, understanding of their specifics, adequate perception of the language of the media. Independent creation of cognitive activity, algorithms for solving tasks of a creative and search nature. Participation in project activities, mastery of research methods, elementary forecasting skills. Use of multimedia resources and computer technologies for processing, transmission, systematization of information, creating databases, presenting the results of cognitive and practical activities. And finally, possession of the main types of public speaking: statements, monologue, discussion, controversy, following ethical standards and rules for dialogue. The economic education of a student is a process of formation, value orientations and attitudes towards the consolidation of society, and competencies to organize their behavior and protect interests in various types of economic activity. Students of a specialized school of knowledge for the right choice of living and professional space. Thus, economic education is a necessary condition for the formation of social competencies, equipping students with skills to adapt to social roles in changing economic environment and educating value attitudes in behavior. Study ideas about the basic principles or concepts of the economy, as experience shows, is possible through interdisciplinary guidelines in the socialization of the individual. The main task of specialized training is to provide conditions for the realization of the interests, abilities, and needs of the individual. So the introduction of specialized training is aimed at increasing the ability of a future graduate to act independently in the educational services market, designing his own educational and employment route. To find further information, follow the links below. As a practical assignment, you have to complete the following tasks.